Hello world, so what I wanted to do was start out showing you a few different topics that we'll be covering or that I'll be covering over the next few months or into the future about the 0 point RGV and what's going on here. So let me start out with showing you here, we've got maps of the entire county, we've got sacred geometry of Jesus, we've got the tree of life here, this is Nate Silver's book about finding the signal in the noise and finding patterns. We've got family recipes and cooking. One of my favorite topics of all, memories here. This is an interesting one. This is from high school here, my high school dance at Science Academy of South Texas. One of my favorite topics is J.R. Tolkien, which I grew up with a lot of that. This is a book, Tolkien and the Ring. And so we'll talk about myth and adventure, stuff like that. Star Wars. We've got binoculars and my bird book down here. So where's all the birds? We've got virtual reality to be going over. We've got weather, flooding, patterns. That stuff relates to a lot of this stuff. This is my good friend Speckles. This is a box of olive wood brought back from Jerusalem with the Jerusalem cross on it that my family had. And these are some different knickknacks, including like St. Benedict's cross. This is a skindú, which is a dagger that was used to protect the family back in Scotland when they banned swords. The British did, and so it's got my name engraved onto it. I got it at a wedding. Some people use skindús or daggers in ritual chaos magic. I don't, of course, or who knows, And we'll do stuff like plasma and green energy. So we've got new inventions like that. That's plasma. We've got my grandfather's book from his life in the war and his service record. And then when he came back, he would fly planes and stuff to Colombia. So we've got his flights to Colombia. And that's where I got my interest in crystals and gemstones and things like that. So these are some emeralds that were flown back from Colombia, more Star Wars things. This is my family's Good Leadership Bible. So we've got the Bible and the greatest story ever told. But moving into my religion and stuff, which is the Unity Church. And this is the 5 principles. And so that's where I got into a lot of the sacred geometry, drawings, ratios, things like that. Here's some of it that I've actually drawn myself, and it reacts to color and light. This is a calendar from Vicente Gonzalez, who was one of my clients that got elected. My grandma brought this back from Greece, and this is it's an interesting painting or time clock of Jesus. We have another county maps here that we'll be using. Some books that my dad got me this one is I think got me for Christmas, and it discusses our country going into World War I and II. Then this is Charlie Wilson's War, which my dad got me, and it was interesting. He passed away, but inside of it, he wrote that he was proud of me. And so this discusses the hidden war in Afghanistan. And over here, we're going to talk about topics like, this is a secret societies, different things like that. Just anything involving basically the hidden history of our country and our region. And then back in college, I did anthropology, so we'll be talking about myths, adventures, the story of humanity, and we will also talk about local politicians, things going on. Here's one of the koozies I got from David Fuentes. So we're going to talk about flooding. We'll talk about cool herbal remedies and stuff, lotions, things you need to use for flood recovery. And obviously, a lot of Star Wars. You got your Star Wars figurines here, bobbleheads. This is the Millennium Falcon. And so we'll be covering all of those things. And then as well, as we get back over here, one of the other things we will be discussing and talking about is current situations and what happened in the past. So over here, we're going to look at, this is Sentinel satellite imagery that's available from a region, and this is like the current cover of the clouds. We can look at historical stuff. We'll integrate all that together, look at lower areas, flooding, all those interesting things, and just talk about what it is to be here in the valley, here in this country, here in this nation. We're going to discuss who we are, where we came from, and being a part of this 0 point or this nexus of bringing all of our stories together and look at the history of where we were, who we are, and where we want to go to as a country, as a people, as a region, as individuals, and just put our story together and write our own history and look into our own future. And I think that through sharing these stories and our talents and our unique experiences that we can come together and fix a lot of the mistakes that we made in the past and improve our region and identify areas that we can improve or fix problems that that have occurred because of some systemic failures or things that weren't adequately analyzed at the time into the context of what's happened in the past and what's going to happen to the future, which allowed us or caused a failure in prediction, resulting in a lot of these floods. So by using our skills and looking at how everything was done, why it was done, and what could have been done better, we can prevent those things from happening again. So I'm hoping that we'll be able to work together to share these stories, build this web, and just really get to know each other and get to know the region and have a deeper understanding. Because as Marianne Williamson says, I don't want to get shallow for you. I want you to get deep with me.